If you're looking for an alternative to Supabase, you may have heard of Pocketbase. It's a really nice, simple, and open source alternative, and it's really easy to set up. So I just want to go over how I like to set it up for my local development environment and how I push that to production. So first step is you go to the documentation, and then you just download the executable right here. And then it will show right on your desktop. You can unzip the folder, the file, and then within the folder you have the executable of the Pocketbase and a couple readmes. So with this stuff you can actually copy paste it to a new folder in your project. Let's call it Pocketbase, and then we can just drag and drop right into Pocketbase. Okay, so this is basically just a bare bones SvelteKit project, and now we have Pocketbase to it. So SvelteKit can interact with Pocketbase. Just to show you the SvelteKit server, just very bare bones. It's just not relevant right now, but just to show you how that is. And for Pocketbase, we can go into our Pocketbase folder and serve it up locally with this command, Pocketbase serve. All right, and so for the first time, you got to create your super user. So let me just do that. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then now we have the dashboard of Pocketbase. It's kind of like, it's kind of like Supabase. So you can basically manage your whole database with this dashboard. You got your tables or collections, and you got your records within the table. And every time you create a change or make a change, it will also automatically generate a migration. So let's just create a new table, say demo posts, and create some new fields on this too. Let's say title and body. And create that table and make a new record too. Let's say demo table, title, body, just put a bunch of text in there. And yeah, this is our Pocketbase running locally. And you can see the migrations that were created for us. And now how do we get this onto production is, there's a bunch of ways, but my preferred way is just to use a Dockerfile. Because once you have a Dockerfile, you can make a Docker image, and once you have the Docker image, you can host that anywhere, basically on any cloud server that has a Linux server. So let's create a Dockerfile right here, Dockerfile, and then we can go to the docs. And although it's not official, it is very functional, this code that they have. I do have my own kind of version. It's I think it's the same. It's just like one line uncommented. So basically I uncommented this part, which is the migrations, because I want the migrations to copy over when I push this to production. I don't want the data to copy over, just want the migrations. And yeah, so you basically get the Pocketbase zip, and then you unzip it into the PB directory, and then you expose 8080. So let's build this Docker image. We can exit out of our executable, go into our Pocketbase again, and let's build an image. Let's say Docker build, tag it as PBJ 1.0.0. Yep. And then once we built that, we can push it to our Docker hub, Docker push PBJ 1.0. Okay, so now we have our Docker image, and now we can host it on anywhere. Personally, my favorite is DigitalOcean. You can also host it in Fly.io or Railway, but personally, I think I just don't like vendor lock-in or any notion of it, so I just want to do it simple. So you got this droplet, and you can create a droplet. And I personally like CapRover. I'm not sure. I think it's a platform as a service. You can do it without CapRover, but I think I like CapRover. So it's a platform as a service. You can host a bunch of things on it. I think it's easier if I just show you though. So you can create a droplet, create it anywhere you want, and just create the cheapest droplet you can make, like $6 a month. And one of the reasons is you got a one-click image right here too, so you can go CapRover, and but it takes a couple minutes to make, so I'm just going to show you the existing droplet I already have with CapRover. Go into the console, and then you can see how to connect to the dashboard of CapRover. And And for the password, the default password is Captain42, and this is the dashboard. So it is a platform as a service, so like Coolify or Heroku, but basically it's open source and it's free. And the reason I like it is the main thing I like it for is because that you can deploy whole apps from a Docker file or from a Docker image. It also takes care of miscellaneous things like your routing, your DNS, and your HTTPS. So right now I have it stuck to pb-test.builders of stuff. So with my Namecheap, my DNS, it's like right here. So the host is star.pb-test, and I pointed right to my droplet, my DigitalOcean droplet. I didn't enable HTTPS, so you can do that afterwards. And so for the apps, you can create as many apps as you want. You just create let's create one right now. Let's say test 20, create new app, and then persistent data is checked. And then from here you can deploy, actually let's configure the app first. So let's configure the container port. So it's 8080, and then we have configs. We can add the port mapping 8080 to 8080 because 8080 is the port of our Pocketbase, and then we add a persistent directory pb_data, because for a Docker file we unzip it right into pb, and pb data is where our data is. So just label it anything, pb data. We'll get back to this, and we can actually use a volume. So if you don't use a volume, it's just going to use the file directory as a mount, as a persistent directory, it works, but if it ever goes down, then you lose all your data. So preferably it's better to use a volume or some mounted volume. So anyways, we'll go over that later. We can just save and start this for now. Okay, that's not a valid name, so that's pb-data-demo. Save and restart. Okay, that's good. So we don't actually have our Pocketbase deployed right now because we didn't do that. So we go over to deployment, we go to the bottom, there's a bunch of methods to deploy it. You can use CLI, bunch of stuff, but we're going to use our image that we just built. So strung at pbj, and we deploy that. And just like that, it's built and it's deployed. So every time, actually we'll get to that later. So for the logs, for the first time you deploy Pocketbase, you're going to have to use this thing. You're going to create a super user. So I'm just going to copy paste that for later. And now we can go over to our HTTPS settings, and we can go to our thing. So this is our Pocketbase. We can go access our dashboard at _ We don't have a user yet, so we're going to use that token, that temporary token, to create our user, our super user. And this is separate from our local database. Okay, so create super user, and we see that we have, because it collected the migrations previously, we can see that we actually have the tables and the fields already here too, but the data has not been copied over, so the production data is separate from the local development data. So that is how you get it on production. Let's just create a new record right here, just for that. And then let's show how to hook this up to a block, or a volume block, so you don't have to rely on the file system for storage. So actually that's quite a lot of stuff. So I'll just go over the basic steps. You go to volume block storage, and you create your volume. It's going to give you some instructions. So basically right here, config instructions, and you can just SSH into your droplet and then copy paste these things. And then you got this thing right here, mount volume NYC, copy that, and then you go back to your CapRover, and then you can go persistent directory. There's the same path in the app, but then instead of the label, you set specific host path, and then you just paste that here, and this will make it such that the data of the Pocketbase of the CapRover will be mounted to the volume, which is attachable, detachable, expandable. It's much more reliable than just using the file storage. I'm not going to go over that right now because that's quite a lot. And so let's just make a change to solidify this. So let's say you deployed it, you're happy, and a couple days pass and you want to make a new change. We can go back to our server and serve it again and go to our collection. That's the way we want to make a new table. And let's say demo posts 2. Demo post 2, add a new record. Okay, yeah, so that's our table, that's our change. And then we want to capture this change. So the way we do that, to get it to production, we just build a new Docker file. So let's say docker build pbj 2.0. Build the image, push the image, and then once that is ready, you go back to your CapRover, you go to deployment, and then you deploy it from here. pbj 2.0. Deploy. You can see the logs. Build has finished successfully, and yeah, perfect. Dashboard is right there. HTTPS settings, and then you can go to your URL, and then you add the underscore to access the dashboard, and you have the new table. Migrations have been ported over successfully, and the data for the production still stays separate. So that's how you set up Pocketbase locally and push it to production with Docker files and CapRover. You don't need CapRover, but I just felt this was much easier to manage, and I really like CapRover and I like Pocketbase. So hope this helps. If there's any other questions, just leave some comments or just ask ChatGPT or something. But hope this